Hello everyone, in this video we are solving a question under organic chemistry. Like if you are ready, subscribe for more organic chemistry videos and drop organic chemistry in the comments. Let's dive in. So the diagram shows some reactions of butanoic acid. Question A, B, C and D. Sorry about that. A, B, C and D are different substances. Identify by name A, B, C, and D. So A, B, C, and D are different substances. Identify by name A, B, C, and D. So the diagram is this one here. So butanoic acid is this one in the middle here. You can know because but means 4. But means 4 carbon atoms, and this has 4 carbon atoms. So butanoic acid is first reacting with sodium. This is sodium. So butanoic acid is reacting with sodium to form gas A and salt B. So butanoic acid is an acid and sodium is a metal. If you remember, under acids and bases, when an acid reacts with a metal, what is formed is hydrogen gas and a salt and hydrogen gas. So gas A is hydrogen gas, salt B is sodium butanoate. Gas A is hydrogen gas, salt B is sodium butanoate. So the answers are here. This one's here. Hydrogen gas, B is sodium butanoate. Then we look for C and D. What are the substances C and D? So again, butanoic acid is reacting with sodium carbonate to form salt B, gas C, and liquid D. So butanoic acid is an acid and sodium carbonate is a carbonate. If you remember, under acids and bases, when an acid reacts with a carbonate, what is formed is salt, water, and carbon dioxide. So what is formed is the salt, carbon dioxide, and water. Salt, carbon dioxide, and water. So gas A, so gas C is carbon dioxide, liquid D is water. Because what is formed is a salt, carbon dioxide, and water. So salt B is sodium butanoate. We already know it, we already found it here. Salt B is sodium butanoate, gas C is carbon dioxide, and the liquid D is water. You find this under acids and bases. Chemical properties of an acid. An acid reacts with a carbonate to form salt, carbon dioxide, and water. So the salt is sodium butanoate, gas C is carbon dioxide, and liquid D is water. So the answers are here. So hydrogen gas, sodium butanoate, carbon dioxide, and water. Move on to the next question. Name and draw the displayed structure of E. Name and draw the displayed structure of E. So what is E? Let's look at the diagram. So this is butanoic acid being reacted with methanol. Methanol is an alcohol. All alcohols end with ano. So methanol is reacting with butanoic acid, which is a carboxylic acid. So when a carboxylic acid and an alcohol react, what is formed? An ester and water. So when a carboxylic acid and an alcohol react, what is formed is an ester and water. So butanoic acid is a carboxylic acid, while methanol is an alcohol. So when butanoic acid reacts with methanol, what will be formed is an ester and water. So there's liquid D. Liquid D is water, and organic liquid E is an ester. So liquid D is water, while the organic liquid E is an ester. So they want the name. Let's see what they asked for. Name and draw the displayed structure. So they want the name. So how do you write the name of an ester? How do you write the name of an ester? So when you want to write the name of an ester, the first step you will do is identify the name of the alcohol. In this case, the name of the alcohol that is being used is methanol, right? And once you identify the name of the alcohol, change the ending of the alcohol from ano to YL. So the ending of the alcohol, ano, will change to YL. So the first step you do is identify the alcohol that is reacting. In this case, it is methanol. And then you change the ending of the alcohol. You change the ending of the alcohol from ano to YL. From ano to YL. Then if you change from ano to YL, it's going to be methyl. It's going to be methyl. It should look like this, methyl. It's gonna be like this, methyl. When you change the ending from ano to YL, it's going to be methyl. Then the next step that you do is change the ending of the carboxylic acid involved in the reaction. In this case, the carboxylic acid that was involved in the reaction was butanoic acid. So you change the ending of the carboxylic acid from anoic to anoate. So you change butanoic acid to butanoate. You change anoic to anoate. So it's going to be, you change OIC, the ending of the carboxylic acid is OIC, right? You will change it to OATE. Instead of OIC, you put OATE. For the alcohol, from ANOL to YL. So it's going to be methyl. For the carboxylic acid, is from OIC to OATE. So butanoate. So it's going to be, then you combine what you have, the methyl plus the butanoate, then you have the name of the ester, methyl butanoate. So this is the name. This is the name of the ester. So the first step you're supposed to do is change the ending of the alcohol that is involved in the reaction. In this case, it was methanol. So you change ano to the ending, which is ano, to YL. Then it's going to be methyl. Then you change the ending of the alcohol involved in the, then you change the ending of the carboxylic acid involved in the reaction. It was butanoic acid, right? So you change from OIC, the ending OIC, to OATE. So it's going to be butanoate. So methyl butanoate. Then you combine to get methyl butanoate. So that's the name of the ester. In case you want full explanation on esters, there's a video. If you check it, one of the videos I've posted, I recently posted a video explaining esters in detail. Check it out if you want full explanation on esters. Okay, then move on to the next question. Name and draw the displayed structure of E. So we have to write the displayed structure of E. So the structural formula of the ester E, which is methyl butanoate. So how do you write the structural formula of methyl butanoate? I also explained it in the video I made. So check it out, but I'll try to explain here as well. So how do you write the displayed structure of methyl butanoate? So the first step that you need to do is first write the chemical formula of methyl butanoate. So how do you write the chemical formula of methyl butanoate? Okay, so this is the chemical formula of methyl butanoate. So how did I come up with it? So the first thing you need to do is write the chemical formula of the alcohol involved in the reaction, then write the chemical formula of the carboxylic acid involved in the reaction. In this case, the alcohol involved in the reaction was what? Methanol. Meth means 1, right? Meth means 1, and this was an alcohol. So if you want to write the chemical formula of methanol, you use the general formula, which all alcohols obey, which is this one, CnH2n plus 1 OH. So this is the general formulas. This is the general formula all alcohols obey. If this meth means 1 carbon atom. So and N stands for the number of carbon atoms. So since meth means 1, we're going to put where there's N 1, because N represents the number of carbon atoms. number of carbon atoms, while meth means 1 carbon atom. So we're going to put 1 in place of N. So if you put 1 there, it's still going to be C. If you put 1 there, it's going to be 2 multiplied by 1 will give you 2 plus 1, 3. So CH3OH. So that's the chemical formula of methanol. So methanol will be reacting with butanoic acid according to what is in the question. So butanoic acid, how do you write the chemical formula of butanoic acid? All carboxylic acids obey the formula, the general formula, CnH2n plus 1 COOH. So but means, this but means 4 carbon atoms, and N represents the number of carbon atoms. So since but means 4, we're going to put 4 where there's N. So we would put 4 where there's N. We would put 4 where there's N if the functional group of the carboxylic acid didn't have an extra carbon atom. What I mean is, for the functional group of the alcohol, what's the functional group of the alcohol? It's OH, right? As you can see, there's no carbon atom, right? But for the functional group of carboxylic acid, it's COOH. There's an extra carbon atom. Because of this extra carbon atom, I want to put 4. I will say 4 minus 1 because there's already an extra carbon atom in the functional group. So I'll say 4 minus 1, which will give me 3. But for the alcohol, as you can see, OH doesn't have an extra carbon atom. There's no other carbon atom. That's why I put 2. That's why I put 1 directly. That's why I just put 1 directly, because there's no extra carbon atom. But for the carboxylic acid, the functional group for the carboxylic acid, there's an extra carbon atom, this one here. So we'll say 4 minus 1. So that will be 3. So where there's N, we'll put 3. So C3, then there, 2 multiplied by 3 will give you 6 plus 1, 7. So C3H7COOH. So that's the chemical formula of butanoic acid. And if you want, can you count the number of carbon atoms? Since but means 4, if we count 3 plus 1, 4. So if we had put 4 directly, it would have been 5, and it wouldn't have made sense because but means 4. That's why I subtracted by 1, because there's already an extra carbon atom in the functional group. So I already explained this in the video that I did. So you should check that one out. I broke it down further. So that's the chemical formula of butanoic acid. So this is the chemical formula of methanol, and this is the chemical formula of butanoic acid. So methanol is reacting with butanoic acid to form an ester and water. Since methanol is an alcohol and butanoic acid is a carboxylic acid, when an alcohol and a carboxylic acid react, what is formed is an ester and water. So how do you write the chemical formula of the ester formed, which is methyl butanoate? So the first thing you're going to do is remove, these are steps, remove the hydrogen atom at the end of the carboxylic acid. You remove. Then you write it down here like this, without the hydrogen atom. Then the next thing you should do is remove the hydroxide from the alcohol. You remove the OH from the alcohol. After you remove it, you combine it with this. You combine it with this, and it will look like that. Once you combine, then hydroxide plus hydrogen will give you water. So that's how the water is formed. When you add hydroxide plus hydrogen, it will give you water. So we're removing this because esterification results in a byproduct, which is water. So that's how you write the chemical formula of an ester. So the first thing you need to do if you want to write the chemical formula of an ester, you identify the chemical formula of the alcohol, then the carboxylic acid. Then you remove the hydrogen atom from the carboxylic acid, then you remove the hydroxide from the alcohol, then you combine. But always start with the carboxylic acid when writing the chemical formula. Start with the carboxylic acid when writing the chemical formula. But when writing the name in words, the ester, when writing the name of the ester in words, start with the alcohol. As you can see, I started with methanol, which is an alcohol. I started with an alcohol. Methyl butanoate, I started with an alcohol. When writing the name for the ester in words, start with the alcohol. But when you're writing the chemical formula of the ester, start with the carboxylic acid, then the alcohol. I hope you've noticed the difference. So if we have the chemical formula, now that we have the chemical formula, we can write the structural formula of methyl butanoate. Once you have the chemical formula, it's very easy to write the structural formula. Then you've done all the work. Once you just find the chemical formula, then everything will be easy. You'll see what I mean. So this is the structural formula of methyl butanoate. So you just follow the same order. The first part is you write 3 carbon atoms. You write 1, 2, 3. Surrounded by how many hydrogen atoms? 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you write COO. So C, don't forget the double bond, because this was previously a carboxylic acid. And carboxylic acid, in between the carbon atom and the oxygen, there's a double bond. So don't forget the double bond. So COO, just like in the chemical formula. And then what you write is 1 carbon atom surrounded by 3 hydrogen atoms, just like that. Then you're done. So once you know the chemical formula, you can just follow the order. Then you write the structural formula. Then it will be as easy as pie. So the key is first to find the chemical formula, then you can easily write the structural formula. That's it for today. So see you in the next video.